Okay, this is take 2 around the corner from the shouty screamies. That's what I call people who are drunk and don't shut up. So here we go. Earth catastrophes, pole shifts, extinction level cycles, timelines, and hidden plasma universe concepts, suppressed knowledge, CIA classified book, declassified, by Chan Thomas, under many names when you look it up online, because having the original name in the video's title you're looking at will make it to where you actually know what the original title was, and it was only done during this title. Yeah, every one of the other titles is a way to keep you from looking it up. So here we go. Chan Thomas is only known for 3 works. Here they are. Now, I don't know if they were actually produced during these times, but the earliest time is 1963, and the first one, and this is the one you're citing, whether you know it or not, is The Adam and Eve Story from Emerson House Publishing in Los Angeles, 54 pages. Now, take that number, divide it by 4, okay, you get like 12, 13 pages, times 4, something like that. 13 sheets of paper, printed out on a mini printer to make it 8 by 11 sheets, folded in half. It's a mimeograph pamphlet. But anyway, it was published. I mean, you can get pamphlets published. 1971, Postlude to the same named story, a pamphlet. Emerson House Publishing, again, in Los Angeles. No note on how many pages, because when you try to look it up, the only place I could find it wouldn't tell me how many pages the damn thing is. It tells me how many pounds it is. 1972, Body Number 2. This is either referring to a second book, or it's just referring to your second body. The Incredible World of Extrasensory Perception, a 201-page book. That's literally the entire body of work this person's put out. A book on ESP in the 1970s. Basically, you could say a postscript to his own work, and a book or an essay called The Adam and Eve Story. Now, it was from 1963 to 1972, so 10 years after this guy put out something, he put out something related to it, or not. Emerson House Publishing might have just made this up, and the other one is probably his ESP book. Now, this is the 70s and 60s. Counterculture ideas were very profitable and being exploited. And also, I should point out that anybody who wanted to blend in at a coffee shop and look just like everybody else so they wouldn't be suspicious would walk around carrying one of these. Just saying. It's cover. It's good, carry that and wear whatever beatnik outfit you can think of. So anyway, 1993. This is the last time I can see that this was actually somebody put in the effort of not doing a vanity publishing, but actually trying to publish it. Now it's 232 pages. Maybe it's all of it together. And it's called The Adam and Eve Story, and then, secondary title, The History of Cataclysms. Bengal Tiger Press Publishers, and it has an ISBN number now. And that ISBN number, if you actually find it, it's listed below. It will lead you, if you look in the right pages, to every college, because this is obviously for college kids, that had a copy of this now 232-page book. And it's hardcover in some cases. Now, there's obviously going to be some major differences between them, but because someone put that extra name on it, The History of Cataclysms, it could have been somebody's own independent work and then still citing the original writer. I'd like to point out that someone put out Hillary and the Looking Glass, or you get the idea. Alice in Wonderland, Hillary in Wonderland, still putting in the author of Alice in Wonderland in it. They just substitute Hillary Clinton's name in, and that's it. It has nothing to do with the person who did the original work, because he never met her, because he'd been dead before she was born. But anyway, let's get on with this. Now, 2013, a release of the 57-page version of the original 54-page pamphlet, which is what it is. So that dates it as being a 1970s version. Was released on the CIA website and it's a 219 megabyte PDF of the, most likely, the original work by this person. So you can go read it. And it's not a $1,000 book that's hard to find and it's being suppressed. It's a 54-page pamphlet that was probably printed out on the equivalent these days of a photocopier. Back then it would have been a different thing. And it's the 1966, January 1st. They might have just used that as the default date. But it's the 1966 version of it, like a second or third edition of the same thing, if you want to call them editions, 3 years later after it was originally published. And it's listed as, only named as, The Adam and Eve Story by Chan Thomas. And it's listed under the following categories of how it was sorted in the sorting hat. CIA, miscellaneous, and general CIA records, classification K, because the classification level for this classified document that has been declassified was classification K. Now, in order of all this, I mean, you can have Q continuum jokes all you want to here, but here are the classification listings that are used most commonly. Classification level K, let's talk about the others first. S is secret. So classification S would be that it's a secret, or that it's listed under secrets or state secrets. Classification C would be confidential, meaning it's kept secret because it would be information that would be about a specific person you don't want to expose information about. It's just confidential. It's not top secret. You're not going to go to prison for it, but it's preferred that you don't release it. And usually has a time and date stamp when it can be released, which this probably did have. Then there's U for unclassified, meaning it has no classification of any kind. It's just not classified. It's just a file, something that was thrown in a box. What's less classified than unclassified when you still have to say that it's declassified? K. That means it was not even marked whether it was classified or not. That means it was unknown classification. And by the way, classified doesn't mean that you can't see it. It just means it's under classification. They didn't even bother classifying it. K group, unknown or unmarked, is what it was classified under, which means they didn't bother classifying it. It's listed as declassified data simply because it was probably in a box or an envelope, a manila envelope, with other information that was listed under classification checkouts. They check out whether it's classified because if it's unmarked, they have to determine should it be post ex facto. And it's unmarked, unknown, just a random pamphlet, a 54-page pamphlet from the 1960s or 70s that was added to their collection of random crap. So anyway, someone reviewed this. Now, they reviewed the book, and it's still, again, I love Amazon, the most barest data, the simplest thing. How many pages was the damn thing? Not listing it. We're not going to tell you. Why the hell wouldn't you tell us how many pages this thing is? Oh, that's right. Truth in advertising doesn't require you to say how freaking tiny. Anyway, but to tell you how many pounds it is, shipping weight. So anyway, what was the synopsis of this work as a book? The assertion by people, not on Amazon, but actually on Goodreads for Google, is quite nice. It's a pamphlet predicting a catastrophic pole shift in the near future, which did not happen because this was 1963. My entire age is encompassed in this time period. This thing was available publicly, and you can still find it at a university somewhere, stuck on a shelf somewhere next to fry toy material. And it was never hidden or anything. And this thing was added to the CIA collection of random miscellaneous stuff. Maybe part of an outfit someone walked around holding this so they'd look beatnik-like. For 30 years it was available, and they held a copy. Apparently they got this copy in the 1960s themselves. So it's been sitting on a shelf somewhere, and they just declassified it. And they're legally required, for transparency reasons, unless there's a really good reason, to go through the trouble of digitizing it so that you can't lose this. So if anything, you should thank them for Fahrenheit 451ing this. You are free to download this. It is not a $1,000 book. This isn't the forbidden knowledge you were looking for. But anyway, this near future pole shift catastrophe, what proof or references were given? References only listing the Bible, and any facts listed either have no evidence at all or tenuous connections to something else. And it was predicting a cataclysm before today's date. So it's wrong, It's probably somebody's work that they did based on everybody else's, because the Amazon reading statements say that, yeah, this is the same thing everybody else is putting out at the time. I can tell you for a fact at a coffee shop, I've seen people sit down and rewrite other people's books and condense them down to Reader's Digest versions and say they're working on a new novel. They've been doing that for 5 years. It's a way to look interesting so chicks will talk to you. I used to talk about chakras and maracas. That's how I got chicks. Because I was a young man who was trying to get girls, and talking about something mysterious or forbidden was fun. It worked a little. No, it didn't. It didn't work for shit. But I tried. That was my shtick. The other part of my shtick was just, I didn't have a shtick. I'm a complete failure with women. But whoever this guy was has managed to leave literally a remix of about 50 other stories that he probably read that week sitting up on the internet now. He managed to do this in the 1960s, probably was smoking a doobie, and managed to get a bunch of you to actually fall for it. Because it doesn't have anything new in it. It's a regurgitation of previous work, according to everybody else who's read it, that isn't a true believer that's pushing a story. And yeah, a Suspicious Observer or whatever has done a multi-video page thing. How many videos has this guy done? Like 20 videos apparently. He's like on, this is video number whatever, 20 something, okay? I think it's a Suspicious Observer. It had 54 pages. So that means he's literally doing a video about each of the 2 pages. If I do that, do I get a cookie? Okay, let's review. Somebody in the 1960s, probably a beatnik, wrote a really cool story, Adam Eve story, about a catastrophic pole shift in the near future that didn't happen, without any references or proof, vaguely alluding to the Bible or some facts, neenering it. This guy's probably been dead for a while. Or not, maybe he does exist. But the only 3 works he put out was a book on ESP in 1972. In 1971, he tried to revamp the story and make a pamphlet that was published through the same location, or somebody just published it in his name, ghostwriting it, because they owned the rights for a while. After that, it shifted over in 1993 to being called The History of Cataclysms. So I'm going to incorporate all of the titles for all of his work in this video, so that you can find this video and find every copy down below, including archive versions that have been made by other people, and you can decide whether this is worth a damn. But it was only 54 pages, and it was probably done by somebody who was probably trying to be impressive or an intellectual. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck.